Hey everybody, Ann Kaplan here from Mom Me, your mama resource from conception to college. Wherever you are on your momming journey, we are here for you. And this week we're talking about work-life balance, if that's even a thing, if that is even possible, if we should even be using that word, work-life balance. And today I want to talk about taking the stuff that we've talked about this week a little bit deeper. So Tuesday I talked about tips to make life bearable and make your life feel a little bit more balanced when you're working outside of momming. And yesterday we talked about how to make that work when you're pregnant and what to think about maternity leave and stuff like that. But I want to talk about something that a lot of people think is taboo to talk about when it comes to talking about work-life balance, which is, should I quit my job? I've gotten that question a ton of times from my clients who are struggling and frustrated with trying to have it all, the worst expression that has ever been invented. And I myself have answered that question differently at different times during my life. So I want to give you guys some tips of things to consider, and I want to maybe give you guys some food for thought on how to think about this stuff a little bit differently than you have in the past. So, you know, I want you guys to think about this stuff, not because I have an agenda and I think you should quit your job or because mom should be in the home or anything crappy and stupid like that. That's not what this is about. We ask ourselves these questions so that we can realign and reconnect with why we are doing this, okay? It's not so that you necessarily quit or not quit or whatever. It's so that you can feel super strong about whatever decision you make, okay? So let yourself go there with these questions that I think sometimes we are afraid to even ask ourselves. And I'm going to tell you a little trick that I use all the time in my childbirth classes as well. If there's some question or fear that you have that you're too afraid to even go there in your mind, that fear owns you. And now that fear is defining your existence and whatever you're doing about that fear. That fear is now the thing that's dominating you. And you're sending yourself a subconscious message that that fear is more powerful than you are and you can't handle it. So if there's these questions about, like, should I quit my job? Do I even like this anymore? Is this even worth it? Did I make a huge mistake? Those are scary, scary, scary questions, but if you feel those questions and then you feel yourself shying away from those questions, that's even worse than asking them yourself. There's nothing wrong with exploring these questions and then feeling a super strong commitment to whatever the answers are. So there's a million reasons why, and that's the first question I want you to ask yourself. Why are you working? Why are you working aside from momming? And there's a million answers to that question, and all of them are right, and all of them might be wrong, and none of them are bad answers or good answers. So, I mean, obviously, the biggest reason, probably the most obvious reason that people think they're working, and oftentimes is the reason why they're working, is because they need money. If you're a single parent, you're working because, hello, you need to support your family. Or if you're the primary breadwinner, hello, you're working because you're supporting your family. You're a dual income family. Like, it's really hard to imagine getting rid of that second income. So don't be afraid to admit that the money is the reason and that it's really necessary to you. Now, one food for thought I will give you about that is, like, really sit down and look at the cost of working, because working isn't free. There's childcare involved, there's clothing, there's wear and tear on your car, you know, all the things that I'm sure you've already read about and thought about out there that go into deciding whether or not you want to keep working, especially if the only reason you're doing it is for financial reasons. I quit my first job when my second kid was born because I realized that I was essentially doing it for free. The only financial benefit I got from my job after childcare costs and commuting costs was the money my company contributed to my 401k. And not that that's nothing, but it wasn't enough for me to be living a life that wasn't super awesome and fulfilling and that I actually kind of hated. So think about the money. If that's a reason, that's a totally legit reason. If that's a reason, look closer and make sure you're actually making money. And then also, there's another reason why we work, and it's something deeper than money. It's about having an identity for yourself that's outside of being a mother. It's about feeling like a complete person. It's about feeling like you have balance in your life, or you just have one part of your life that you can do that's not about your kids. And that doesn't mean that everybody needs to have a job, but for some people, their job is that resource. Their job is that source of identity or balance or just a little bit of a break from their kids and stuff like that. Like in my case, when I started my job, like we didn't need more money. I just needed my job. Like I need my job. I love my job. I need to feel connected to people. I need to feel like I have something that's going on in my life that's just about me and my passion and what I want for me in the long term. It's really, really important to me. So even though I might not make a ton of money at my job, as long as I can figure out a way to do my job in a way that doesn't make me hate my life, I'm always going to do it. So if that's your reason, awesome. Connect with that. And then also, the reason why this reason that I'm talking about right now can be so fundamental to moms is because it's a way that you're kind of putting a line in the sand and saying, I value myself. I'm setting an example for myself and my kids of carving out this part of my life that's just for me. And that's a gift that I give my kids and myself. So if that's you, way to go. Own it. Like that's amazing. And that still means that we need to figure out a way for you to do your job in a way that doesn't make you hate your life, right? And that's where we get to those tips from before. And that's where we get to my third thing for you guys, which is now that you know your why, whatever your why is about why you're working, if you believe that why strongly, use it to help figure out what you want to do if your life and your work-life balance are not where you want them to be, okay? So for example, like I do my job for myself. I do my job because I love it, and I do my job. I want to be financially successful at my job, but I know that since a big reason why I do my job is for my happiness and enjoyment and balance, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing my job in a way that doesn't sacrifice my happiness, my wellness, and my balance. So if your life is suffering because of how you're doing your job, use your why. Use the reason why you're doing your job. I'm doing my job for me. I'm doing my job because I want to be happy. I'm doing my job because I want to afford these luxuries. Use that why to help you evaluate, well, how can I change things to make it a little bit more livable and even more enjoyable so I'm actually achieving this goal that I've set for myself? Use it to answer questions like, well, how much do I want to work? What kind of hours do I want to work? What kind of work do I even want to do? Maybe I want to change my job. And all of those whys are going to help you stay committed to whatever change you're going to make, okay? And what I really want you guys to understand is if you're sitting there and saying, yeah, but, I hate my situation, but I have to do it. Yeah, but I don't like having to work from home. Or yeah, but I don't want to have to work full time. Or yeah, but. There is a solution out there. And the first step in finding that solution is actually believing that it exists. Because if all you're doing is getting trapped in the victim loop of your job, you're never going to see a solution. You're never going to creatively problem solve. So connect with that why first. Not the I have to work, but the why. Why do I work? I want the luxuries of having this income. I want the feeling of having something separate from my kids. Like whatever it is, use that why to solve your problems and answer those questions. And another tip for you guys, that if my cousin was here right now, he would drop down dead hearing me say this, take a cue from millennials. Some of you might be millennials. The older I get, the younger my clients are compared to me, and pretty soon all of my birthing clients especially are millennials. Take a cue from that generation, you guys. I want to read to you something that I have found over and over and over again whenever I've been looking into like marketing research when it comes to millennials. That's my business. I need to know that. The biggest thing that defines the millennial culture is their willingness to sacrifice career gains and financial means for their quality of life. And I want you to think about that, because from my perspective as a Gen Xer or a Zennial or whatever the freak you want to call it, I have grown up in a culture where going backwards in my career, deciding to not make a certain amount of money, sacrificing or turning down an opportunity, that's not the recipe for success. That translates into giving up, quitting, being lazy, just being selfish or something like that. And it's very, very hard for me to make decisions about my career that from that mindset can be easily perceived as giving up, quitting, being lazy, throwing in the towel, all of that stuff. So I want you to take a cue from that and think about, like I think about my cousin all the time. My cousin Seth, who has no children, is a man, so he's never been pregnant. in. But his philosophy on life is so different than mine. And it's something that I need to learn more, which is this person has a college degree in business. He could have gone and gotten a traditional job after school and all that stuff, but he chose not to do that. He's living a life where, if by my usual traditional metrics, would be considered a complete waste. A waste of his degree, a waste of his parents' money, a waste of his youth, all of that stuff, because he's just making money on the side and using it to travel around. He's starting this podcast. It's not making any money anymore. He's all into like meditation and all this stuff. By all of the standard traditional metrics of success, he is failing. But that person has more mindfulness, more enjoyment, and more balance in his life than I did for sure at his age, and I think most people have in general. So take this cue from the millennial mindset of like, this isn't giving in. If you decide that you want to change your job, if you decide to pass up a specific promotion, if you decide that you're okay with making less money or that you want to go part-time, change your mindset, you guys. This is not giving up. This is not foregoing an opportunity or making a bad decision for your career. Doing those kinds of things is valuing things differently. It's changing your definition of success. Like, do you guys know how much I work in a week? I work 16 hours a week. And if I worked 40 hours a week, I promise you I would be making so much more money. I would have 3 times as many clients. I would be doing so much better my business. I would also probably murder everybody that I knew, including my children. So my definition of success is very different. And I had to teach it to myself because it's not the way that I was raised. So take a cue from millennials. If you're unhappy in your job, if you feel like you don't have work-life balance, first of all, connect to if you even want to have this job. And second of all, really take a close look at what your definition of success is and reevaluate your mindset. Look at your life in a global sense. Look at your life from the perspective of how do I want to feel in my life as a whole, and how can I make changes so that I have that feeling all of the time. I hope that's helpful for you guys. It's kind of deep. It's a little bit more esoteric than I like to get sometimes in these videos, but this is a real meat of what's going on with work-life balance is we get to this point where it's like, why the hell am I even doing this to myself anymore? And you know what? If you look at things from a more global perspective, not only can you make changes in your here and now, but you can see things with a distance mindset of like, yeah, okay, maybe I'm not working that much right now because it makes more sense for me to live my life this way. That's not forever. I used to be an engineer. Then I stopped working at all. Then I became a doula. Then I started teaching childbirth education. Then I added parent coaching to my business. My life is evolving. My career is evolving. My life is changing. And when you spend your time thinking about all the long distance stuff in this anxiety, like future, oh my God, if I do this, then this is never going to happen mindset, you're putting yourself way too far in the future and you're completely missing what's happening right now. I hope that's helpful for you guys. I love you guys so much. If you're in the Whole Woman Happy Family group, I see Sarah's watching. Hi, Sarah. I love you. I'm going to be doing your exclusive broadcast right after this in the Whole Woman Happy Family group for my special clients. We're going to be talking about judging when it comes to working. Do you do that? Yes, you do. And guess what? Everyone's doing it to you too. So let's talk about it and how we can kind of rise above that stuff. Have an amazing week. I'm going to be broadcasting again tomorrow, a surprise broadcast. It's all about an event that I have coming up, and I'm super pumped to share it with you guys. Have an awesome week. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.